McLaughlin and Sports Talk with the Cowboy.
Welcome and thanks for riding with the Cowboy. Wonderful victory, 26-23 in overtime Sunday in Carolina as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeat the Carolina Panthers in overtime on a field goal, Chase McLaughlin field goal, after a Anthony Nelson strip fumble of Chuba Hubbard and Yaya Diaby falling on the ball, and we got the ball back and drove down and kicked the game-winning field goal. So it was a big victory, puts us at 6 wins, 6 losses. We take on the Las Vegas Raiders, formerly the Oakland Raiders, in Raymond James Stadium, 1 o'clock Sunday, and try to go to 7 wins, 6 losses, and another victory, a third in a row. And so it was a good victory. Bucky Irvin had a big day, Offensive Player of the Week, with his runs, over 200 yards on the ground. Mike Evans caught a touchdown. Baker did have a couple interceptions. We had 1 sack. We had that strip fumble at the end of the game that actually won us the game. Game ball to Anthony Nelson, linebacker, who stripped that ball, went right for the ball. Didn't even try to tackle him. Just his arm around him and just ripped that ball out. Yaya Diaby jumped on the ball, and of course we went down and kicked the field goal for the win. So it wasn't a pretty win. We all watched it. It wasn't pretty, but it was a win. A win is a win, and it made us 6-6, tied with the Falcons. So we got to be thankful for the victory, and hopefully we can go on this week and beat the Raiders in Raymond James Stadium. So everybody get out there and support the Buccaneers on their quest to make the playoffs. A lot of big games this week. As you know, the Lions defeated the Bears on Thanksgiving Day. The Bears coach gets fired because he don't call a timeout at the end of the game and lets the clock expire. We had the Cowboys beating the Giants, and we had the Packers up in the snow beat the Dolphins. And then on Friday, Black Friday, we had the Chiefs and the Raiders. The Chiefs got out of there 19-17 over the Raiders on Friday before the big actions on Sunday. So keep your eyes posted on all the big games this week. The Ravens and the Eagles. Of course, the Eagles defeated the Ravens in a big game there. The Rams beat the Saints in another big game. The Falcons lost to the Chargers, which they're in our division. Very important loss, making them at 6-6 like we are. Of course, they hold the tiebreaker, so we got to go in there ahead of them at the end of the year. That's what we plan on doing. A lot of big games this week. Keep your eyes on them. And in college football, as you know, for the first time ever, we have a 12-team playoff to determine the champion of college football. And this week will be the championship games of the SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Mountain West. And these 5 that I just mentioned, conference champions, get an automatic in to the 12-team playoff. That's what these games are important this weekend for. There'll be 7 teams that aren't those teams in the playoffs also. But those 5 teams, first week, they get a bye. So if you get in behind them, you're going to be playing a game before you play them. So that's what the plus is to be the conference champion. That's the Mountain West, that's the Big 12, that's the Big 10, that's the SEC, and that's the ACC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what's happening this weekend in college sports, college football. Great watch this weekend to determine who's going to be them 5 automatic entries. And then we'll have to wait till the next Tuesday night for the committee to pick the other 7, which will be up to them to figure out which 7 they'll pick. A lot of football action this weekend, both college and pro. So keep yourself tuned to it. As far as the Rays are concerned, no real news on the stadium other than the St. Pete City Council is supposed to vote on the bonds tomorrow night. We'll see how that goes. As far as the Lightning, they did win a game last night, and they've got another game next, I think it's tomorrow night. Tonight's Wednesday, so that'll be on Thursday. In NASCAR, the 2311 team owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, and Front Row Motorsports owned by Bob Jenkins, as you know, they lost their court case against the France family who owns NASCAR, and they'll have to run open cars this next season. They won't be given a charter because they refused to sign the charter. They've got an antitrust lawsuit against NASCAR, but it's starting to fall apart on them. So That's what the news is in NASCAR really this week. As far as locally, the historic racing is being held out at Sebring this year. This weekend, December 7th and 8th, the gates open for both days of racing. Historic cars out at Sebring International Raceway here in Sebring, Florida this weekend. So get out there and support our track and see some live racing while it's in town here and pretty good weather. And then I'll go on now to the questions for this week. And the first question is, was Baker Mayfield off, or was his offense just not pass protecting well Sunday against the Panthers? I think it's a little bit of both. Baker was a little off, and the offense was doing a great job run blocking. That's why Berkey Irvin went over 200 yards. Pass blocking, not so good. They still haven't been able to figure out how to use Evans and use Trey Palmer and McMillan to take up for Chris Godwin not being there. And I could tell they just didn't have it in sync. When it really came push to shove at the end of the game, they handed the ball to Bucky Irvin and let him run it down there till he got close, and then they gave it to Rashad White. He run it up there to get the field goal. So running is the key. They have built their team now to be able to be great run blockers. So if you get in trouble, you'll see what they'll do, and they start running. But Baker played a good game, but he was off target. He had 2 interceptions, which is uncharacteristic of Baker, and his throws were a little short. And that one injury that he came off the sidelines for being injured a couple of plays, and he threw the first pass he threw was intercepted because he wasn't standing well on his back leg that had been hurt. So there was some considering factors of why that second interception took place, but it wasn't a great offensive day. It wasn't a pretty win. But I think that they played a pretty good game overall on the run, and they got the win with Anthony Nelson stripped of that QB Hummer run play that Yaya jumped on. God bless you, and thank you for your question. The next question is from Ann. Ann wanted to know whether the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs, and Ann, I don't think they will. I mean, they've got a game this week. They might make a wild card. As you know, the Buffalo Bills have won the AFC East outright already. They are the champs of the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. No great surprise. But the Dolphins had won 3 games before they lost to Green Bay Thanksgiving night, and they could come back and win this game and win some more games and get in that wild card hunt. So I'm not going to say they're all the way out, Ann. There's 5 more games, and anybody could still make it. They've won enough games. If they win 5 more, they could make it as a wild card. Certainly won't make it as a division champ because that's already been taken by the Buffalo Bills. But God bless you, and thank you for your question, Ann. And the last question tonight is from JC, and JC wanted to know what I thought was the top 4 teams in both the American Football Conference and the National Football Conference right now. The top 4 teams in the American Football Conference, and I'll go this way. Chiefs, because nobody's beat them out in 2 years, and they're the defending world champions. Number 1. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Number 3, Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. There's your 4 AFC top 4, okay? And that's exactly how they roll. Pittsburgh at 3, Ravens at 4, Bills at 2, Chiefs at 1. In the National, it goes like this. Detroit Lions, numero uno, number 1. Philadelphia Eagles, number 2. I, myself, personally got Green Bay at number 3. And number 4, it's going to be a surprise, I got the Seattle Seahawks. You could say, well, you can't find a better team than the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, they could win their division, and if they're a division winner, they host a playoff game. So I'm going with Seattle right now. But the 2 strongest teams in the National, by far and away, Detroit Lions, number 1, Philadelphia Eagles, number 2. No question. And in the American, number 1, the Chiefs. Number 2, you guessed it, the Bills. So that's where we are right now, tonight. That don't mean next week couldn't change. God bless you, and thank you for your question. Before I get started tonight, DGX, happy birthday next week.
For sure.
And
Appreciate
before I get out of here with the questions, I want to say happy birthday to my grandson, Xander Roy Reno, who turned 7 years old today. God bless you. I love you, Xander. Have a great birthday. From the show, happy birthday. And happy birthday to you, DJX.
For sure.
Coming up next week.
Happy birthday, Xander. All right. Let's get right off into it, buddy. What key defense plays helped the Buccaneers secure their victory over the Panthers?
Anthony Nelson's strip fumble of Sheba Hubbard won the game for them.
Yeah.
Because they were down there to kick a field goal to win it themselves. And they actually were in field goal range. So they got a little greedy because they were in field goal range when they got the pass.
Yeah.
And the coach, I looked at the other coach, and he decided, well, let's get a little bit closer. We just run it. Well,
that wasn't a good idea.
That wasn't a good idea when he stripped that ball out and when they got the ball back.
Too bad. How did Buccaneers quarterback perform in the win, and what were some of the notable plays?
His notable play was this pass to Mike Evans at the first quarter, where Mike Evans tiptoed across the end zone and got a touchdown. And he hit a couple other good passes during the game. That was his notable plays, and his running ability. He ran for a couple first downs for us. That was his notable plays this week, Mayfield.
All right. What does this win mean for the Buccaneers standing in the NFC South, and how will it impact their upcoming schedule?
Well, it'll impact it that they're 6-6 even with the Falcons. Falcons got the tiebreaker because they beat us twice during the season. So if it's a tie at the end of the year, they'll go to the tiebreaker, which is head-to-head. In Atlanta, beat us twice, so they'll get that. So we know we got to beat them outright. It can't be no tie. And they've lost 3 out of their last 4 games, and we won our last 2 games, and we hope to this week we'll win 3 in a row. So I think this is pivotal because we know that every game that the Buccaneers get on that field between now and the end of the year is a playoff game.
Yeah.
They can't afford to lose 1. Damn sure can't afford to lose 2.
Right.
So, when they go out there and play the Raiders this week, they say, boy, them Bucs are playing hard. Yes, they are, because they're in playoff mode.
Yeah.
If they can win it outright and just win them all out, they'll be 11-6. And then they'll be their own destiny.
Yeah, I think they can do it. Well, that's the 3 I have for you this week, Cowboy.
Well, God bless you, DJX, and God bless each and every one of you. I want to, again, tell you to send your questions in your comments. I want you to share our show with any of your friends. And if they haven't subscribe. And go out and enjoy the Sebring Christmas Parade Friday night downtown Sebring at the Circle. And if you didn't get a chance, it was a great parade this Monday night down in Avon Park, Florida, kicking off the holiday season with Avon Park Christmas Parade. So we're getting in Christmas mode, so get out there and enjoy peace on earth, goodwill towards men, and let's live that 365 days a year instead of just at Christmas. Until next show, God bless you, and Cowboy out.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?